Yeah, the only hardcore thing is that there is an extremely classified document dealing with religion, and it's about that thick. Period. But why would there be any classified material dealing with religion?
I want to go back to the religion thing. I want you to say it.
It's so far out.
All right, your objection has been noted.
Okay.
What does it say?
That we're containers. That's how supposedly the aliens look at us. That we are nothing but containers.
Containers of?
Containers. Maybe containers of souls. You can come up with whatever theory you want, but we're containers. And that's how we're mentioned in the documents. That religion was specifically created so we have some rules and regulations for the sole purpose of not damaging the containers.
You've made it to the 6th and final installment of the Linda Moulton Howe lecture. But before we proceed, ask yourself, how much of what you've heard is true? And how much was designed to keep us all in the dark? The clip you just witnessed was from Bob Lazar's chilling 1989 interview, where he revealed a classified document stack from his time working inside S4. He covered a document that claimed humans are mere containers for the soul, and that religion itself may have been engineered, not to save us, but to control us. As we dive into the rest of Linda's lecture, pay close attention. Do these stories reflect consistency? Or are we being led down a labyrinth of half-truths spread by self-proclaimed abductees? Some pieces fit while others defy explanation. If you're drawn to mysteries like this, join us at the Storyist, where we don't just tell stories, we hunt the truth lurking behind them.
If we humans are being lied to, used for some purpose to put over the idea the aliens want us to believe, if there is an experiment, maybe if it succeeds, it will put us in competition with the aliens for something they don't want to share. Maybe they are trying to scare us out of their neighborhood, close quote. So now I'm going to just summarize that up to this point where I'm going to start again, that I was sharing that I have talked with a lot of whistleblowers in various states of knowledge in, we'll say, CIA backgrounds, DIA backgrounds. And they have basically reinforced something that at this point in this presentation you are probably feeling. That is the frustration, the angst of not knowing what the truth is, of not knowing what the true agendas are, of intelligences that have been defined in documents since 1947 as being eons, thousands of years beyond us. And that the implication is something is trying to help us while we are also being manipulated. And that my own personal opinion is there's only one way to free us, and that is we need to have the truth. We need to have the truth about even the most difficult subjects, which include a slide like this one, and the whole issue of the recycling of souls in and out of body containers. There was an interview with one of the live aliens at Los Alamos. I know this for a fact. I've talked with a man who was there. And when the Eben was asked about the term, the word reincarnation, the Eben answered, reincarnation, the recycling of souls, is the machinery of this universe. And I ask, did he say anything about the devil, Christ, God? And the answer that I was given was, quote, there is an evil force. Even the Ebens talk about it. There is a supreme being, and then there is the evil one. The evil entity, the Ebens are as scared of that evil entity as we are of the devil. Sherman said, I don't know where the devil is, but what worries me is that if the Ebens are scared of him, I'm damn scared of him, because the Ebens can control everything. They have been around this universe and done everything. And if they believe in the same supreme being that we call God, and they say there is an evil one, then there really is a devil. And I ask, would the devil be equal to and opposite of the positive God? Are there two gods? Sherman answered, I don't know. You can think about that forever. There's another thing that puzzles me. The Ebens say that everything that occurs in our time span has occurred before. I guess it means we're just right in the middle of a huge, big circle, and it just goes round and round again. And the way I see this is that the earth was created, and one day, 5 billion years from now, the sun is going to expand, and earth will be engulfed and destroyed, and everything goes back into a big bang, and then everything starts all over again. I ask, when the Yellow Book talked about the supreme being that created the universe, did it say anything about parallel dimensions, parallel timelines? Sherman said, nothing. The aliens talked about the vastness of the universe, that there are life forms everywhere. It talks about a supreme being creating the souls and creating the containers and distributing the souls to the containers and to the Ebens. That is just basic fact. If the Ebens made us and put us here, there has to be a reason. Are we a garden growing containers for souls to be harvested for some reason? Sherman answered, well, that's another good question, and all I can tell you is that one elderly man with MJ-12 told me, you don't want to know. When I asked him about souls and why the Ebens made us, some abductees also say that the main reason for the animal mutilations and human abductions has to do with the creation of a hybrid species. But no one knows whether the hybrids are supposed to replace the current Homo sapiens sapien container model. There is a sense that whatever the non-humans are up to, it has something to do with survival, theirs and ours. Sherman said, maybe all I know is that the Ebens are supposed to have manipulated DNA in primates long before humans were created. So there must have been a series of experiments like Neanderthal before Cro-Magnon. And Neanderthal is gone. So who knows what's on the agenda for humans? Centuries of genetic manipulation by other intelligences was reinforced for me in 1999 by a retired Defense Intelligence Agency analyst. He said those alien presences have based themselves underground in various parts of this earth, and at least one type has been terraforming this planet and genetically manipulating Earth life for some 270 million years. And he said they made the dinosaurs, that it was an 85 million year laboratory experiment, that this planet Earth is considered a laboratory. The DIA analyst was especially interested in the resurrection technology described by abductees Linda Porter. He knew all about the cloning technology from his DIA work, and he described how concerned he and his superiors were about human body containers camouflaging the conflicts of an alien presence through the often chaotic evolution of Homo sapien to Homo sapiens sapien. Who are we really? Does someone else own or battle to keep ownership of Earth? Are humans unwitting pawns in a multi-level chess game? If we are, is there an alien ally, a Prometheus or Enki trying to help us advance more rapidly in order to better survive, as Sergeant CJ said? Is there truly some kind of alien threat from beyond the alien presence underground on Earth in our solar system? Like, what happens if Osiris or Zeus or Jehovah or Nabu return? Our planet is now in the midst of its 6th mass extinction of plants and animals because of humanity's spread around the planet, destroying and paving over so much ground that once sustained abundant Earth life. We are currently experiencing the worst period of die-offs since the loss of the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. Scientists estimate we're now losing animals, plants, and insects at 1,000 to 10,000 times the rate prior to the 20th century, with dozens of species going extinct every day. That means by the end of this 21st century, as many as 30 to 50% of all Earth species could be gone. Perhaps the non-human intelligences which watch this planet can see humanity's own future hanging in a balance, but will not allow humans to destroy the Earth laboratory. Perhaps that is why the aliens increased their interference at nuclear missile sites and human abductions, despite aggressive government efforts to keep everything about the alien presence a big secret. One fact is certain. No matter who made humans or why, life on Earth is not guaranteed. But if the chokehold on the truth were released and the entire human family could know everything the governments and the militaries are hiding about an alien presence on this planet that still manipulates DNA and harvests Earth life, perhaps human tribal warfare would slow down in the alien concocted Garden of Eden, where a reptile was the teacher. In November 1984, I was a speaker at the University of Nebraska with astronomer and QFOS founder J. Allen Hynek, PhD. I presented about animal mutilations, and Dr. Hynek talked about UFOs, and afterwards he said to me, "Linda, let's let our hair down with each other." And I thought, wow, I'm going to learn what Hynek really knows about UFOs and ETs. And we went to a quiet room away from the conference buzz, and to my surprise, he began with these words: "The most important book I have ever read and hope that you will read too is Theosophy by Rudolf Steiner." And in that book, first written in 1922, Steiner summed up his understanding about the relationship between the human mind, body, and soul, and that the soul is the animating force of all matter bodies. Neither Hynek nor I knew that he would pass into another dimension only a year and a half later from a brain tumor. And I would not learn from abductees about the ET soul transfer technology for 7 more years until 1991, when abductee Linda Porter illustrated seeing the human soul life force radiating that gold-orange light as it moved from the dying man's body into another body cloned by a praying mantis and a gray Eben type. But one realization has become very true for me. There is a secret war on Earth, past, present, and probably future. One group of other intelligences want to see humans evolve into oneness with the divine field responsible for all matter worlds. Another intelligence wants to stunt human evolution so it can continue to harvest us genetically for its own self-serving purposes. This is the confusion of contradictory literature and conflicting religions throughout human history. Religious inspirations have been used to homogenize various human groups to make them more controllable by the competing intelligences, but those have often been ET manipulations, not honest guidance from the divine field. Maybe like political factions, the dark party and the light party are competing over legislation to legalize the production of cloned android life outside the force of creation's recycling program of a finite number of souls. Maybe some souls are captured and put into clone bodies, which is fouling up the divine field's process. Other clones might never receive souls. That political issue about cloning for galactic trade or alien wars might explain why dramas of resurrected saviors from Osiris in Egypt to Christ in ancient Palestine have appeared to humanity. Osiris and Christ were beings with human bodies and mysterious divinity who empathized and emphasized that death in the body does not end life for the soul and spirit. That concept underlies the Egyptian obsession with mummies and sacred rites to protect the soul at the moment of death from competing forces. If there is a finite number of souls, as the government whistleblower told me once, and that they are under a strictly regulated God force recycling program, then clone bodies and androids might end up outside, excluded from that recycling process. The full scope of this complex, multi-layered chess game for souls, spirits, and bodies of humans, extraterrestrials, angels, and time travelers might be beyond human ability to understand. One scientist in New England, who has also been abducted by gray beings who repaired his diseased heart, told me that he was shown holograms that depicted a series of universes in pairs, mirrored images, each the opposite of the other, from the subatomic to the macro. He said, quote, "Our universe is paired to another universe which is completely opposite of this one. There, the skies are glowing white with dark suns. Colors are indescribable and iridescent. Time flows to the past like a conveyor belt. At the moment of death, in our universe, we move through a tunnel to change charge in order for the soul to move into the mirror universe where it is all light. There, time moves to the past, and souls return back here in this universe in a route that he said was drawn for him by the aliens as our infinity symbol. Perhaps the unique isolation each human feels and the peculiar melancholy a dark sky filled with stars can evoke has something to do with knowledge that is buried in our genes and our souls, a sensing of ancient intimacies with other beings and other worlds. Now, in this time of revolution, when the whole world will know we are not alone in this universe, our greatest challenge as a species will be to stand up unafraid before the old gods and watchers. Ultimately, I am convinced there is a common bond among all life forms ebbing and flowing on spirals of different frequencies supported by a singular force, an invisible matrix of energy from which everything emerges and to which everything returns. Thank you, Manchester.
And with that, we reach the end, or is it just the beginning? Linda's lecture has taken us down a rabbit hole of secrets, leaving us with one burning question. Is religion nothing more than an elaborate control system, crafted not by gods following a religion, but by something else? The UFO community whispers about aliens pulling the strings of faith, shaping our beliefs to keep us in line. Before we close this chapter, let's revisit one last piece of this puzzle. Remember Angel, the young man whose family encountered those towering gray beings in a UFO that crashed in his backyard? Well, now he's claiming when they left the property, apparently something was left behind. That changes everything.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why Angel has pivoted from calling what he saw that night an alien instead, now calling it a demon, because he feels like he's seeing so much paranormal activity and just strange, unexplainable things happening inside of his home. There was two anecdotes, one in particular that we're about to show you that literally made the hairs on my arms stand up just because it is so freaky, so unexplainable. We have a segment of that part of the conversation. You mentioned paranormal activity. What exactly did you see?
Well, I was in another room. My brother called me, and there was a upside-down cross, and there was a Jesus statue in it. They ripped Jesus out of it. They threw him like across the room, and it was floating upside down.
Are you saying floating in the air?
Yeah, like in the air. It was floating upside down.
What did you do? I mean, did you go pick it up? Did you knock it down? Like how?
No, I didn't do nothing. I was just sitting there. I was crazy. I was like, what?
But how did it come down? It's not still floating right now, is it?
No, it came down. So we got closer to it, and then it dropped.
It fell to the ground. A crucifix,
yeah,
floating in the air, upside down. The Jesus on the crucifix had been ripped off,
yeah,
and it was floating.
yeah.
And you can say definitively, without lies, that that is what you saw.
Yes. Swear to God, that's what I saw.
What do you believe that is? How could something like that happen? That's not physically possible in this world. And that's just one story of many stories of paranormal activity that's happened inside this house, according to Angel. He said that the family has had to take some really drastic measures to make themselves feel safe within their home. We're going to talk more about all of that paranormal activity tomorrow night on.
But here's where the logic to this becomes questionable. What about documented miracles, the unexplainable, the divine, the moments that defy logic? Documented miracles have happened in many different religions, from Christianity to Hinduism, like the two you're about to see.
मैंने उठ करके, और दूध होगा आपके पास? मैं दूध तो ज़रूर होगा भगवान की कृपा से। तो थोड़ा सा कटोरी में दूध डाला, एक चम्मच ली, मंदिर के पट खोलने के बाद भगवान गणपति के दरबार में हम पहुंच गए। जा कर के हमने कौली में ये ऐसे हमारे पास कटोरी में हमने थोड़ा जो दूध था वो दूध डाला और चम्मच से दूध लिया, मान कि कहाँ पी रहे हैं, तो वहाँ हम पहुँच गए। तो वो इस प्रकार से जैसे ही लगाया हमने, तो भगवान गणपति ऐसे चूस रहे जैसे ऐसे करके हम जो है नलकी से फ्रूटी वगैरह पीते हैं, ठीक उसी प्रकार से दूध अंदर, चम्मच हमने हल्का सा ऐसे किया और दूध अंदर गया।
So widespread were the reports of a miracle throughout the world that India's Federal Department of Science and Technology was asked to investigate. They were sceptical and said the molecules of milk were being drawn from the spool by the texture of the statues.
Are these simply to be ignored as aliens using a green screen effect, as Hollywood would do? Or are these the signs of proof that something greater is reaching out, ensuring we never lose sight of the truth? Thank you for watching The Storyist, where the deepest truths are hidden between the lines. Don't just watch, question everything.